Hi everybody, and today on the Fan Awakens we're talking about the Star Wars novel Aftermath. Okay, the long-awaited, much-anticipated, much-hyped novel Star Wars Aftermath I finally got to read. This is the first novel that in the new canon that takes place after the Battle of Endor, after the events of Return of the Jedi. The first novel in the Journey to the Force Awakens series. First off, I think this book faced some unrealistic expectations. I don't know whose fault it was, but I think certainly a lot of people expected it to be some kind of catch-all, a book that was going to bring us all the way up to speed from Return of the Jedi to the beginning of The Force Awakens. And I don't know where the fault lies in that, but that's definitely not what it was trying to do. I would look at it more as an engine that's trying to crank back up. It's looking to warm up the machine and get us cranking again from Return of the Jedi, which has been laying still and solidly in our minds for 30-something years, and this is the first thing to come along to sort of crank us back up again and see where we're going. And in that regard, I think it did a great job. It's not a big epic sort of story. It's not a big story like Darth Plagueis or some of the others where we're all over the galaxy necessarily with big players and main characters. The story itself is a very small one, but it's diverse in that it has representatives of all the different factions. It's got rebels, it's got former Imperials and Imperials, it's got a bounty hunter, it's got regular citizens of a small backwater planet, and they're all coming together. And then, though, they also did want to touch in on other places in the galaxy, so it's got a series of interludes, sort of short, not even short stories, just small, a handful of pages, small little check-ins on some different places around the galaxy with some people that we know in some cases, some people we don't know in other cases. And those are sort of meant to check in on how other parts of the galaxy and other parts of the story are faring in the sort of post-Emperor world. I thought it was a really interesting idea. How well it worked is subject to some debate, but I mean, I liked it. The main story itself, though, I think it was really good. I thought it started off fine, but it gets better and better and better. One of the things is there's several key players in the main stories. There's Wedge Antilles, and also the return of Rey Sloane, the Imperial officer who we met in A New Dawn, that was really cool to sort of bring her back, because she was a very likable character in A New Dawn. So there's them. We have to spend a little time with that situation. Then we meet Nora Wexley, who is a pilot from the Rebellion, who's returning to her home planet of Akiva to try to reunite with her son. Then we meet Sinjir, what is his name? Sinjir Rath Velas, who is an ex-Imperial who has deserted. Then we meet a bounty hunter named Jas Ameri, and she's there on a mission, a bounty hunting mission, which coincides with what Rey Sloane is doing there. It takes a little time to meet each one of these people, and it's mixed in with a couple of the first interludes, so I think some of the problems some people may have had with this novel is that it takes a little while to get going for that reason. I think you could feel like you read a lot and didn't actually get anywhere early on, but I didn't really have any problem with it. Once these characters all start to come together, start to pick up one by one, and start to come in contact with each other, and they eventually all sort of come together, and the story really starts to evolve into where it's going, I think it's really great. The story gets really, really good. So you have a story, in and of itself, is mostly just an escape story. Can these people get out alive, sort of thing, which is a base level idea, base story, which is usually pretty exciting, intense. They got to come with a plan, see if they can make their plan work. but it gets them throughout the city and allows us, the reader, to get an idea of what's happening in this city, on this planet, in the wake of the emperor dying, and so it works. I mean, it works on that level. It works on a level where we're engaged in what's happening, but we're also sort of learning something. We're learning what it's like, what's happening, what this planet was like, and understanding that this planet isn't unlike, all the other planets. So again, I was really compelled. It's also mixed with a very good mother and son, sort of estranged mother and son reuniting story, in addition to issues of loyalty, a bounty hunter, having none, a former imperial officer who worked in the loyalty department, trying to decide his own, where he wants to go. And so again, not like hiding your vegetables in your in your applesauce or whatever. I mean, you have a good story here, but you're learning a lot, and I think all of it worked really well. And in the end, you had a really compelling story that ended, solidly and was ultimately pretty exciting. And also, there's Mr. Bones, who I loved. Mr. Bones, the former battle droid who is now an assassin droid, was also very cool. And somehow, some way, he needs an action figure. And the interludes were a mixed bag. They were all interesting, but on various levels, from just mildly interesting to really interesting. There were a couple that dealt with Darth Vader. One that hinted at Boba Fett, some stuff like that was really interesting. Some others that were, dealing with the ones with Mon Mothma were really good. Those things really sort of taking you to a place where you just want to know, how's it going to evolve from where it is now to what we're going to see in December. There's one in Jakku, which we know is going to be, play a role in the Force Awakens. So they were all very good. I think, and I'm not totally sure, but my guess is that when they release a second book in the Aftermath series, we're going to see continuations of each of these interludes. I hope we're going to get these same characters, same sets of circumstances in these interludes, and continue to get more interludes there. And then in the third book, maybe continue, and hopefully they'll all sort of fold in on each other and become relevant to one another. I hope that's what they're going for. I was probably more interested in the interludes at first, and then by the end, though, I was much more interested in the story, and I kind of wish the interludes had stopped, maybe midway through, so I could finish the whole story. But I like the idea. I think it's good, and even if it's not a perfect read, even if it is, there's a little bit of distraction there, whatever. In the end, you're only going to read a book maybe a handful of times, and ultimately, it's the knowledge that you gain. You can restructure it any way you want in your head. I mean, the knowledge that you gain to talk about with your friends is the important part. So I think we got a lot. I certainly got a lot out of this novel, and I thought it was really good. But in the end, I thought this was a very good book. I mean, I liked it a lot. I think I see some element of disappointment among some people, but I wasn't. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to read what's next. I think there's probably a little, I don't know if they held anything back necessarily, but I mean, it's only going to give you so much. They're coming up on The Force Awakens. They're not going to give it all away. So I'll be real excited to read the second book here after The Force Awakens comes out, where I feel like they're more willing to go to places that wouldn't necessarily spoil anything coming up. So we'll see how that works. I'll be, excited to read that one. So yeah, good book, good, loved it. And I'll be reading next the young adult novel Lost Stars, which I'm interested to read because I don't know what to expect with that, but it was everybody seems to think it's pretty good, so I'm finally getting that. And when I do, I'll be right here telling you how I felt about it. So thanks for listening. Please subscribe, and until next time, may the Force be with you.